Hello, my Wellish friends. Today's episode is for anyone who feels like they're either behind in life or like it's too late to become who they actually want to be. Because what if your daily habits, done imperfectly but consistently, are actually what build the version of you you've been trying to become? Today, I'm joined by Janet McConnell, a healthy longevity advocate, author, and senior national champion bodybuilder who rebuilt her life after a serious health crisis in her 40s through strength training and intentional routines. She's proof that strength, discipline, and growth don't have an expiration date. Today, we're talking about routines that actually support your life, how discipline becomes identity, and why slow, consistent growth might be the key to everything. Janet, welcome to Wellish. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you so much, Sarah. That introduction, I'm like, man, I want to listen to this podcast.
I love that. I want to start with your story. I think I would really love people who are listening that aren't familiar with who you are and what you do to kind of get a good idea of who you were before you made this transition, to kind of show them, the beginning, what this looked like when you first started out and who you've become now. So can you take me back to your mid-40s, what your life was like before your health crisis?
Absolutely. Okay, let's see. I'm Janet McConnell, and I'm a healthy longevity advocate, educational speaker, and author, just like you said. But when I started out in my journey in life, this was not part of my vision board. And it's weird to say that because, I think the older we get, the more we realize how we found a new path. We had a goal, but then it kind of, there's other, life happens.
Always deviates, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now that a week from Wednesday, I'm turning a month from Wednesday. A month from Wednesday, I'm turning.
I was going to say, wait, is it your birthday when this is released? Because that's what I was.
Yeah, maybe May 1st. So,
I'm May 2nd. I love that for us.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, another Taurus.
Yep, that's right.
I knew I liked you.
Yeah, see, in alignment.
Well, so like I said, this is not my original plan. In fact, it's interesting how turning your life into a power move at this age sounds a little rebellious, and honestly it is. But my journey into this work started after a serious health crisis. And I was in my mid-40s, actually 46. And up until then, I was doing what a lot of people do, just juggling responsibilities, pushing through fatigue, assuming that decline was just part of getting older. But that was a long way off. Who needed to think about that? And then my health collapsed. And I had to make a choice, accept that trajectory toward illness and decline at the age of 46 or rebuild from the ground up. And since I tend to be a little on the rebellious side and I'm also not adverse to risk, I chose to rebuild. And that decision led me into strength training, which transformed not just my body, but as we know, if you change your body, you change your mindset.
Mm-hmm. It's so true.
Yeah. So over time, I discovered something really surprising, that the real secret to vitality isn't comfort, it's challenge. Every meaningful breakthrough in my life came after I said yes to something hard. As we hear the phrase, don't let adversity let adversity go to waste.
Yeah. Oh God, 100%. Okay. I love that. So do you feel almost that you're more comfortable now that you've decided to take the challenge?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I feel like it's one of the pathways to authenticity, to finding who you really are, because when you test your mettle against different challenges, you find out what you like and don't like. You find out how strong you really are. You find out where your tenderness and your vulnerabilities are, and you learn to love them and accept them and make them your part of who you are as well. And so today I help people mostly over 50. I have some younger clients, but mostly over 50, rethink aging, how to have strength and how to recover, how to have proper nutrition, what I call an intentional challenge. And it can dramatically improve not just physical strength, but brain health, confidence, and resilience. And so my message is really simple. aging is not a slow fade into weakness or a gradual surrender of our freedoms. That's just a story our society wants to tell. With the right habits, the right mindset, the right story, we can have a powerful second ascent. So I believe that aging strong is the new power move.
Ah, I love this. Okay. So, what do you think is the moment that made you realize that? Like, obviously, you probably didn't think that before. And then you were like, oh, wait, no, I've got to reframe this perspective. So, what was that
Right.
change?
Well, I was just in my 40s, I was kind of living on automatic pilot. I was certainly checking off all the boxes of the
Okay.
things you're supposed to do. And as a child, I was raised very healthy. I was a little iron child and could all the sports and all the things and tomboy and all of that. And into probably early college. I was an athlete all the way through. But then I got my career, got married, and just kind of thought, okay, well, that was fun. And so this is great. I'm making good money. The challenges were satisfying, and I got promoted really fast. I mean, there was a lot of instant gratification to my job, and I just fell in love with it. But I was probably a little addicted at the same time when I look back on it. But I just took it for granted because, Sarah, I was always healthy. So of course, what else could happen? I'm just gonna go on. That was the only reality I knew.
Yeah.
And then 46, and I'm sitting in my doctor's office, and he said, "I don't know what's going on with you, Janet, but you have high blood pressure, high triglycerides, high cholesterol, and you're borderline obese. In fact, you are on your way to early heart disease."
Wow.
And it just, it hit me like a ton of bricks. It was like a bolt of lightning hit my head,
Totally.
and it scared me. And then right after he said that, he tried to slide the prescriptions across the desk at me. He's like, "Whoa!" I glanced at the names of the medicines, and they were things my grandparents were taking. I'm like, "No."
I got to fix this on my own first.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, everybody says that. Everybody bargains. He goes, "Oh no, here we go." But he knew me pretty well because it was back in the day when you kept the same doctor for a long time. So he knew who I was and what I was like. And he said, "I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna say you can fix it." And I said, "Okay, let's set a 6-month deadline." And he goes, "Okay, I like deadlines. It's very concrete. And so we're making the appointment right now, and you're going to come back in 6 months. And if this is not better," I said, and I finished his sentence, "I'll take your medicine." So I went out to my car, and I had a major meltdown.
Naturally.
I bargained, I stood and delivered, and I bargained, and I made a promise. I had no idea. I had no strategy. I had no any idea of what to do because I've never been to a gym. I mean, come on. So I went back to my office and talked to my boss about it a little bit. And at the time, I was really traveling. I was a traveling person for the company quite a bit. And I was worried that I would have to cut back or, I had to I didn't know, I didn't know what would happen. I talked to her about it and she just said, she goes, "Well, I don't know the answer," but she said, "I have a really good trainer. Oh, why don't you just hire the trainer and start? At least you're doing something. And then you'll figure it out along the way." That's a good idea because it was action. And action is often the thing that will lessen anxiety right away. So I signed up with this trainer, and he's very popular, very good. She said he's good. He'll be fun, but he's strict, and he'll take good care of you. So I go, all right. Well, he just happened to be a resistance trainer, bodybuilder style of trainer. And I ended up loving it. I loved the effort. I loved the one-on-one attention. I loved the effort and doing hard things. It just felt good. It felt like I was 10 years old again,
I love that.
in the ball game. I was like,
Yeah.
never. So I really stuck with it. And so it was 3 days a week at 5 a.m. because it had to be before anybody at work was awake. And 6 months later, I went back to my doctor, and I hadn't done anything with my diet. Only thing I changed was just training 3 hours a week, every 3 hours a week, and then for the 6 month period. I had lost 35 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, just because I wasn't exercising at all.
You just started moving. Yeah.
Right. I started moving. So I want your audience to understand that if their life is in a shambles or maybe a semi mudslide and they aren't sure, just pick one little thing. One little thing. Don't try to fix it all. It's too much. But if you fix one thing and start pulling on that thread, it pretty soon that starts to sort itself out. And then you've got that working, and then you can look around and go, okay, what else can I work on? And bit by bit by bit, you can give yourself the grace to get to where you want to be. And it's partly that avoiding that overwhelm, but instead taking action so that you have a way forward. So then he did all the same lab tests. Everything was in the safe zone. And I had lost weight. And I was still a little fluffy, but I wasn't borderline obese anymore, right?
Yeah.
I was very happy. So I got back to the gym and I thought, well, mission accomplished. However, I realized that I didn't want to stop because I was enjoying it so much and it was part of my life now. That's the other thing about doing one thing and doing it long enough to see if you're going to stick with it. And I definitely was. But I started to have a little bit of angst because I didn't know. I realized I don't have a big goal. I dodged a bullet, and I wasn't going to stop that. But I just well, now
Now
what?
you don't have a why. Like now you got to,
Why?
you're at the end
What
of the
am I
6
doing
months.
now? Except I'm just enjoying it. Well, then about a week or two later, these two other ladies showed up in the gym at 5 a.m. on the same days, working with another trainer right nearby. And they were just they were sisters, and they were just a little bit younger than me. And they walked in the door, and it was like jaw-dropping. They were just jacked, ripped, beautiful, not in a masculine way, a feminine way, with just really nice muscle tone, and they were all tan and smooth. And it was like,
Who are you? Yeah.
and I thought, man, they must be really strong. Oh, and then I started watching them and I realized they were curling the same dumbbells I was. They were rowing the same weights I was. They were doing the same weights on the leg press. They weren't, Sarah, they were not any stronger than me. But they look like that. And I thought, well, if you work hard and you're strong, you should just automatically look great. And I asked my trainer, we're doing the same work and we're working out the same amount of time. Why do they look like that? And I look like this, which it wasn't like a denigrating thing. It was just, I'm just,
No,
normal.
yeah.
But I was like, that is what I want. I want that because it just looks so amazing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And so he said, oh, Janet, they are bodybuilding competitors and they are 5 weeks out from a show. And they're in a special lean out diet right before the stage. It's very strategic in nutrition. And I said, strategic nutrition, what is that? And give it to me. If what's standing between me and them is what's on my plate, I'm in. And so he said, no, it's really hard, Janet. You wouldn't like it. And most people quit.
That's what he said to you?
So I said, well, I'm going to find out that diet one way or another. And it could be with you or it could be with another trainer. So he's like, okay, I'll get it for you. So I kind of hijacked him, but he set me up with a nutritional coach that works with bodybuilders to help them get ready. And I started down that path. And a year later, I was on my first stage at 18.
Wow. So cool. I love that so much. It's crazy how much the diet makes a difference. And I also think it's crazy that one thing I just really want to point out, and you already did, is that it took 6 months dialing in on the one thing, and you only did 3 hours a week. It's not like you were in the gym 6 days a week for 2 hours at a time.
Right.
And then after you incorporated that into your life, then you add diet in, and that's a whole other animal to tackle.
Right.
I love that you mentioned that.
Yeah, it was definitely the rest of it. And it gave me a lot more strategies on how to eat when I'm business traveling, because you're not in your own kitchen and you're besieged with fast food and, chocolate on the pillow and, all the
Yeah.
things. So, I had to, I had to learn what to do. And also, I think that there is something about that feeling that you get when you think you ought to do something. I should lose weight. I
Yes.
should be stronger. Instead of, I want that like tomorrow and I'm going to work so hard, and you fall in love with the goal. So you just want it with every fiber of your being, so that you are relentless in finding a pathway that is workable. I mean, clearly I had a really demanding job. I was like, 7 days a week. I had days off now and then, but I mean, I was traveling a lot and in meetings and, VIP receptions and dinners, and just, it was very kind of PRE kind of job. And so there were lots of temptations and a fast schedule. So it had to be that 6 months. It had to be something very doable. I wouldn't have been able to be in the gym 7 days a week and make it work. So it had to be 3 hours a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 5 a.m. And then I could work around that.
Sure. I think one of the most common things that people want to incorporate into their lifestyle is healthy living, like taking care of your physical well-being. A lot of the time it is for like what you look like how you were describing. And I mean, obviously it can come from a place of self-love and wanting to take care of yourself and be healthy.
Right.
But even though you want those things, a lot of people struggle to actually incorporate it. So
Sure.
I'm curious, what was your hardest part and how did you overcome it?
I think that the hardest part was, well, it wasn't like a moment or anything, but it was it was one of those times where, I don't know if you can relate to this, but I got done with that first bodybuilding show and it was such a rush. I had never been exposed to that kind of energy, those kinds of accolades, that kind of a standing ovation, like it was just like the dopamine was too much almost. So I just thought everybody needs to experience this. If people knew what it feels like to be me right now, they wouldn't care about the chocolate chip cookies. They wouldn't care about the nachos or the skinny margaritas or anything. It was such a great feeling. But when it translates to real life, you have to accept the fact that everybody is coming to you differently with a different set of experiences. So I decided to become a trainer that day, and I started to find a path for how to do that while I was working, and began training people. And I was like a born again proselytizing. You have to eat your vegetables and you have to have so much protein. And everybody's like, whoa, Janet, calm down.
I love that. That's so
All
real.
this 5 pounds and look good in a tank top. Okay, just part of the difficulty for me was taking this euphoric and empowering experience and then dialing it in to the real world, to real people with real lives who came from all different directions and were serious about what they wanted and with their reasons and with their limitations up here, where I just I had to meld with them and work with them on what they really wanted. And meanwhile, I felt like I was biting my tongue because it would be so easy if they would just be more strict or more passionate. So that was a hard mental shift for me in learning that if you're going to serve people and help them find their way health-wise with healthy longevity, you have to go with them. You have to start where they are. You have to allow them to lead, and then you're riding shotgun, calling out the off ramps and and they're holding the wheel. And sometimes they would let go of the wheel. And my gym owner would always say to me, Janet, you can't want it more than they do. Because I always wanted more for them than they wanted. That'll break your heart. He said, that'll break your heart. You have to just sink into what they want, try to see through their eyes. And so that was a big shift for me of making that translation into what not everybody wants to be a bodybuilder. I know that now.
Yeah. Well, and I think that it's applicable to yourself that like you
Yeah.
can say you have to meet yourself where you're at. Like if you
Exactly.
I have not done this you're not
Yeah.
a bodybuilder, you're not on stage but
Yeah,
you're expecting
yeah.
to act like one, it just isn't
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
show up like that.
But I've got all the answers, Sarah.
Right. I know logically how to make it happen. Why can't I do it? Well,
Yeah.
and you talk about that, right? Like how discipline becomes identity.
Yes. Yes.
Can you talk
And
about that?
yeah, I think that, well, it kind of backs up to the idea that it's not discipline in the sense of self-flagellation. It's more of a discipline as a passionate belief that is an underwater current that carries you. And it's, so much of what we are is the story we tell ourselves. The story we tell ourselves about who we are shapes our future. And so I invite people all the time to examine what is the story that you're telling yourself about you. I'm too old. I've never been athletic. It's too late. And so changing your habits is where you start to change your identity story. It starts granularly that way. So before we change our bodies, we have to change the story we're telling ourselves about what's possible. And then your choices and your actions become votes for who you say that you are who you say you are.
It's interesting because I feel like that correlates with what you just said about the difference between going into it with the mentality of like, I'm doing this to fix myself and because you don't like who you are now, and building habits that actually support who it is you're becoming.
Right, right. And knowing that you don't have to be perfect, just keeping your eyes on where you want to go and self-correct, pull yourself back in, and know that each time you make a choice, you're helping to form a habit. And each of those habits form the pages of your story. And it is a vote for the person you want to be. And it is proving on a daily basis. This is where self-confidence comes from. Actions that bit by bit by bit prove that you are who you say you are. That is very empowering once you capture that idea, because we all have a story about ourselves. But how do you prove it? It's what comes out of your mouth. It's your actions. It's the way you treat other people. Like, you always say how you have like a distrust of someone who's mean to the waiter,
Yeah, right. Exactly.
that's part of their story. And I don't want to be in that story.
Yeah.
It's subtle, but it's also right in front of our faces.
Right. And it's subtle. Like it is like those little moments that like you're at the restaurant and someone's mean to the waiter, kind of just using that as an example that like it's not like their overall life story. It's these tiny ways that you talk to yourself throughout your day, how you show up throughout your day, 100%. I think something that people get wrong too is that, or I don't want to say get wrong, but that we kind of like screw ourselves over with, I feel like in a sense, is that we approach this from like a performative place, that you want to go to the gym and you see it on social media and like you want to be that person with the Pilates and like the green juice and like all the things, and it's not actually like authentic and in alignment with you. So can you tell me some signs that the routine is coming from alignment compared to it coming from insecurity or pressure?
Ooh, that's a good question, because you're right. We do. I think it's from our childhood. We gained approval from the adults in our lives, our parents, our teachers, our caretakers, by being a good girl, and following directions and not telling a lie, and just all of those things that are part of our makeup, our character, and our morals, basically. And so a lot of that is tied up in external pressure. But all of us have aspirations or images of what it would be, how wonderful it would be if something were true. And there is this idea of thinking that it's going to come from somewhere else, and it just comes from inside. So in finding the thing that you want, and then harnessing it by just deciding. I don't know. It feels to me like, I said it earlier, you have to fall in love. You have to fall in love so that you are devoted to this thing that you want to create, so that it does well up from inside. And if you can pace yourself so that you don't get burnout, in other words, if what you're doing is repeatable and sustainable, then, it makes it so that you don't quit, have a setback, then you're behind, then you try to start again, but you're worse off, and, kind of like yo-yo dieting or anything like that. I don't know if that answers your question exactly.
No, it does. I think that it's interesting to hear you say that, because I think that when I hear you say fall in love with it, that doesn't mean that you have to go the distance like you did. Like, you don't have to be
Right,
on a
right.
bodybuilding stage in order to fall in love with it. But even if you could find that why, how you were describing earlier, and saying like,
Yeah.
I'll fall in love with the idea of like taking care of me, or I
Yeah.
fall in love with the idea of getting into the swimsuit that I want to get in this summer, or like whatever
Yeah.
it is that helps get you there, falling in love with that and allowing the habits that would help you get to that kind of
Yeah.
fall into place. And then
And
that
then,
would make it in alignment.
yeah, and that idea, I think James Clear talks about this in Atomic Habits, where instead of saying, I should go to the gym, or I should have more vegetables, or whatever it is, you would say, I'm the kind of person who goes to the, I'm the kind of person who makes healthy choices when we go out to eat. I'm the kind of person who, and so the habit that you're trying to change, or the trajectory you're trying to redirect, becomes choices that you start to adopt as part of your identity. And when it's part of your identity, it's much more likely to stick.
Totally. So,
Yeah.
in your opinion, then, what does an aligned daily routine actually look like?
Well, I know what mine looks like. I don't.
Yeah, right. It would be different for everybody.
Right, right. Yeah, and it starts, I think, some of the wisdom I have learned along the way is, first of all, remembering to have the first hour of the day and the last hour of the day be, digital free, digital free zone, so that when you wake up, you're quiet, maybe you're a little more tuned inside, you have time to think, journal, meditate, pray, read, just for a little while with your coffee or your tea, and just be still. Sit outside for a little while and listen to the birds waking up, and just have a quiet moment with yourself, with your authentic self. Now, this is going to sound like pie in the sky for some people if you have children screaming and running around. I don't know. But being able, well, even people like Toni Morrison, the writer, said she gets up very early to write, so she can write for 90 minutes before her children woke up. That was her way of doing that, having that quiet time to herself before all the insanity breaks loose. And then also guarding your nighttime, your sleep hygiene, by stepping away from the stimulation of being online, whatever it is that you catch yourself doing, and just sit, play with the pets, do some stretches, take a bath, talk to your spouse, read a book, just anything that's quiet, and it helps you ease out and let go of the day. So those are a couple of things that are really primary for me, is that beginning and the ending is important. But, and then scheduling your health practices on your calendar. I actually put them on my calendar, and make sure, and I color code my calendar. So I have purple is for self-care. So anytime I'm doing something just for me, because I love me, it's purple. Even if it's taking the cat to the vet, that's self-care for me because I love my cat. It sounds kind of crazy, but
No, 100%.
and then, my appointments are another color. My video, I have a YouTube channel, so my video recording time is a different color. So everything, and then I can look at my entire week in the calendar, and I can see all the colors without reading anything. and I can see when I'm heavy on something, like too many meetings,
Oh, that's
too
smart.
many, yeah, too much. There's too much. And so if I have a friend who wants to have coffee, I want to be able to relax and enjoy the coffee. So I'm going to schedule it in a little interim where things are calm. So I'm not just rushing in, saying hi and rushing out and not enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. And also it's feedback like, oh, okay, I need to dial back on, fill in the blank because it's dominating my schedule this week. I'll get through it and I let it happen, but I can correct. And so going forward, so color coding my calendar, that's a very rudimentary thing, but that helps a lot.
I feel like that is very valid because I think that's what a lot of people screw up is they keep it in like what I refer to as just the shitstorm of your mind, like that you
Yeah.
think like, oh, I'm gonna do all of the things and it leaves it so that you don't actually have like solid proof of like what you're doing, you know?
Yeah.
And that's where the identity thing comes in is being able to like build evidence over time that you are behaving in alignment with that person that you want to be. So that's actually a really interesting answer, which obviously isn't what I expected you to say. So I love that.
Well, it gives you feedback visually. Like you can, BS your way. Like I've got plenty of time, or I'm not that busy, or I'm overbooked. I'm just like, well, but what does it look like? So then you could actually see, oh, that's a lot of time for that. I need to dial that back next week and spend more time connecting with my friends, or doing an act of service or something where that feeds your inner self.
Yeah, totally. I'm wondering because I think that what a lot of people mess up to when it comes to this stuff is that you do it for 2 weeks and then you fall off of it. So,
Yeah.
other than because I know obviously you said you have to find a way to fall in love with it, but is there a way that would help people get to the point that they can fall in love with it without falling off first?
Oh yeah. I think that happens a lot. And I've done it, I'm like, and I'm gonna clean my office. I watch somebody do a cleaning and I'm like, I can do that. I can get some IKEA shelves and put those together. And I'm gonna get an organizer in here to help me.
Real. It's so
This
real.
monster. And then you're like, I don't think I can do this. So part of it is, I think, because in order to be able to keep doing something, it has to be sustainable. And as human nature would have it, when we first lock onto something, when you first fall in love, you want to be together all the time. So it's the same way with life things. You want to just like work at it so hard, but you have to pace yourself and make sure that the pace and the intensity and the frequency and the demand on you is sustainable over time. So dial it back enough where when you finish, you think, oh my God, do I have to do this again next week? I don't know, Instead, make it so that, oh, I feel so great. I can't wait till I get to do this again next week because it wasn't so much, it
Yeah.
wasn't overboard. So, don't do a starvation. I say when people start out their diet by fasting, it's like, no, fasting's okay, but start out by figuring out, you can go on to ChatGPT and figure out, this is my height, this is my weight, this is my activity level, what is a range of calories I should be consuming? And then fix a diet of the things you like that will meet those calories. Then then you can look at protein and make sure you're getting enough and make sure you're getting enough fiber. Maybe you have to dial back on the carbs, but you can just eat, learn how to eat, and then go, all right, well, I'm going to do, a 24-hour cleanse. I'm just, then, okay, because that's a little lever. The big rocks are getting the diet so that you can sustain it. And people tend to lean on the big, the dramatic action as being the answer, and that will just shock them into reality. But what it does is it shocks you off the road. You lose the
Yeah.
way. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think it's that idea that we all think like if you work hard enough, then you'll get the results like right
yeah,
away. And
yeah,
it's
yeah,
just like,
yeah,
unfortunately it doesn't work like that.
yeah. Never confuse hustle with impact.
I love that. That's a good line for sure. That's a
Yeah.
good mantra to remember.
We
How do
all know how
you,
to hustle.
yeah, right. But it doesn't ever get us anywhere, which is
Yeah, yeah,
unfortunate, but it's true.
yeah.
How do you feel that because you mentioned that, I mean, obviously it happens to you sometimes. So, like, how do you adjust your routine when life inevitably throws rocks in your path?
Well, first, I don't chastise myself. I look at the situation and go, well, that was fun, and I
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed every bit of it, but I can't keep doing that if I want to stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And then pull myself back together. I have a really good trainer who, is my coach and my confidant when it comes. He's the one person I cannot lie to about what I'm eating and what I'm doing because he needs to know. He needs
Mm-hmm.
to know the real story.
Mm-hmm.
Like a doctor, checking your temperature and your weight and everything because they need to know the real data. So he helps keep me. He inspires me. He doesn't chastise me. He inspires me to stay
Mm-hmm.
on the narrow path, and also just having just a drop of self compassion, just a drop of it to make sure that you are not, your self talk about, how could you be so stupid? You know better than that. You did it again. You can't,
Mm-hmm.
that's not going to encourage you. That's just shaming yourself. It doesn't really help. I mean, some of that comes from the way we were spoken to as a child, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
But then we miraculously pick up the gauntlet and keep going with it. Um, but what I do is I start to feel, I can tell in my gut, I start to feel bogged down, sluggish. I start to feel anxiety mounting up. I start to feel like I'm coming down with something. There's little signs that your body and your gut will tell you when things are off kilter. And the more you work at being in shape and taking care of your body and caring about yourself, the quicker it comes to you.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's language. It's your
Mm-hmm.
body. Your body doesn't say words, but it comes to you through sensation and through hunches. And this just isn't quite right. It's like when you get in your car, it makes a little funny noise, and that's not
Something's
what
wrong.
sounds. Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's enough now. I'm sensitive to it. And so I just like, well, what have I been doing the last couple of days? Okay. I need to drink more water. I need to turn off the light. I shouldn't, if I say my bedtime is 9 p.m., not 9:20, because that
Mm-hmm.
adds an hour after 3 days.
Mm-hmm. It's so
So
interesting because I just think, I mean, it's wild how much of an impact it really truly does make.
yeah, yeah, it does. It's the little stuff adds up for sure. And it doesn't have to be, like I said, it doesn't have to be, major groundbreaking drama to change your life. It's
No.
those little adjustments along the way. And the body is so responsive. We don't even realize it. That's one of the most rewarding things about working on your health to become a little more aligned with your best self is that you learn how responsive your body is to signals. I mean, just a week or two of, lifting some weights and you're like, oh, wow. And I thought I was too old to build muscle. No, you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel better so much more quickly. And when you make sure you get all your sleep, anxiety comes down. You have better emotional regulation. You can think more clearly. You make better decisions in front of the refrigerator, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so
It's true.
it all ties together.
It's so interesting because I think so for me I didn't realize how tied the two were, and it's funny because I think a lot of us make that mistake that you just think you can outthink your way out of all of this stuff when
Yeah.
really if you bring it back to the basics and taking care of yourself in that way it really does make a difference. I had done 75 hard a few years ago, and it was
Oh,
then
that's
that I was
hard.
like,
Yeah.
and I was like, wait, if I drink water, I'm always dehydrated. So I was like, wait, if I drink a gallon of water a day and I eat what I'm supposed to, I'm not eating like Taco Bell and that's the one thing I'm eating during the day, that my anxiety is better, that my brain is functioning how it's supposed to because I'm giving it the nutrients it needs. It's so bizarre.
I know. It's crazy because we're almost like children, like, wow. That's
Yeah,
the
right.
best thing
But
ever.
and your decisions get clearer and like you feel more motivated and you
Yeah.
just like it really at the end of the day it all comes back to that. It's so interesting.
Well,
It,
that makes me think of a saying, most people are one small decision away from transforming their lives.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Amen. I'm curious for somebody that's intimidated maybe or feels that like they're not the type to lift weights. Where should they start?
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that happens a lot with women, especially. And like my husband, who's a band geek, he was like, the jocks were like, oh. Some
I
guys
love
feel that
that.
way too, but
Yeah, for sure.
especially women. So I would say if you're going to start, and I don't know, I'm assuming maybe you're talking about the idea of entering a gym space where you've never been there before and just being unfamiliar with the milieu. What I recommend people do, because I know on my YouTube channel, I mean, I only train people that are in my geographic area, which is in Arizona, but I'm talking to people in, Germany and Australia and all these different places. What do I do? So I tell people what they need to do is go to the gym where they intend on training and just get on the treadmill and walk slow. Don't wear yourself out. Just walk slow and look around and start watching the trainers that are on the floor. Go at the time of day when you would probably want to train so that those are the trainers who were there, and just watch the trainers and pick out the one that's scrolling on his cell phone while his client's doing walking lunges incorrectly. Find the one who just talks all the time and socializes, and there's not a lot of work being done. And then find the trainer who's kneeling down on the floor, encouraging softly to the person, hold your tummy in. Okay, now, big breath here. Okay, nope, shoulders back. Somebody who is with them 100%. Almost like you're helping a little kid ride a bike for the first time. That's what you want. You want that. You want your person. And so then you can hire that trainer. Now, if hiring a trainer is a budget problem, hire them for like 3 sessions. You can afford that. You can budget a little aside for 3 sessions and task them with taking you around the gym and showing you how to use all the machines and write a routine for you. There you go. And they'll show you how to use the machines. When you walk up to it, you know what it's for. You don't feel like you don't look stupid. And also you're not going to hurt yourself, most likely, if you're careful. So maybe they can talk to you a little bit about safety. But most machines, if they aren't too heavy, you're not going to hurt yourself, and you'll figure out kind of where you should be. But have them figure out the routine for you, teach you all the machines, and then you go for it for 5-6 weeks. Now the weights are going to start getting too easy, and maybe you want to branch out. You're kind of getting bored with the exercises. So hire them for one more session and say, okay, show me new stuff. So you can just piecemeal it. Trainers will do that. Piecemeal it. The thing that the trainer taught me, my first trainer, when he saw that I was very nervous because I had never been in a gym. And I was like, all these big guys, because there's that big mirror, and all the weights lined up, and then these giant men sitting at all these benches right in front of me, their muscles. It's a
Yeah.
little bit, oh my God.
Steer clear of them.
Yeah. And they're only focused on themselves. They're
A
not
hundred
looking at
percent.
you
A
at all.
100%. Very much so.
And so he handed me my dumbbells. He goes, you're going to use these. Now, I'm going to stand back here. You walk up there. You take that chair and you take up space.
I love that.
I know. You take up space. You belong here. You are here to train. You know what you're doing. You've got dumbbells. Out of the way. You sit down and you take up space. So he gave me confidence, kind of like a like a scuba diver, giving me his regulator to breathe out of, because my oxygen was
Yes.
all out,
Yes.
and I breathed on his regulator until I got enough confidence to just do that. And so that's the thing too for women. Never be afraid to take up space. And the scary dudes in the gym, not always, but quite a few of them are very nice. And they will be impressed that you are there training. They respect. You will never get trolled by a loser. I'm sorry, you will never get trolled by a winner. A winner, somebody who's really, in control of themselves and confident and a good person will never troll you. You only get trolled by losers.
Yeah,
You know?
100%, completely.
Yeah.
It's so true. What do you think people can do to shift out of the like, I need to change everything overnight mentality? Because that's what that reminds me of, what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. Well, my own path was to do the exercise first, and then I incorporated the diet later when I got the realization that I couldn't just exercise my way to a fit body. So I would say, if all of this seems crazy, you can start with just working on sleep hygiene. Pick your bedtime. 7 hours or 8 hours later, pick your getting up time. Get that, and so you get a sense of I am in control and I can make decisions, and I'm going to arrange my time so that I get the amount of sleep I should have. And then you can add, so your habits that are important are exercise. So walk in the park every day or several times a week. Just a nice little half-hour walk. You can you can work with a nutritionist, or you can do your own kind of experimenting with eating more healthy. But you can just pick one thing, and then you won't be overwhelmed. And if you can get a girlfriend or a buddy to help you that wants to do it too, that's even better, because then you keep each other accountable. You have to start somewhere. But I recommend to start small, gain confidence, get your sea legs under you, look around, and then decide what's next.
Is that how you would recommend how you would stay consistent without becoming rigid or obsessive?
Yes. And some of us are more likely to become obsessive with something than others. It's a personality thing for sure. So if you tend to be more of an obsessive type of person, you're going to have to monitor yourself. That's why the schedule is so important. Just put it on the schedule. When you're finished, leave, go on with your life. You can check the box. You can be obsessive about that. But you don't want to go morning and night, morning and night, morning and night. You'll ruin yourself, especially if you're over 45. You don't have that much vitality to squander. You have to guard your vitality so that you can use it for what you need it.
Yeah, totally. I love that. When you think about your life now, what do you think is the thing that makes it feel good on a daily basis?
Consistency and having a plan in place, because I can just relax. I don't have to think, I hope I'm going to do fit things this week. I hope I'm going to make good choices this week. I don't have to worry about it. So I don't think, so the obsession is gone. I don't think about, it's on my schedule, and I show up and I do it, and then I enjoy it and I leave. But I think that's probably one of the things that makes it easiest is I comply. You have to comply in order to make something happen. But it is already predetermined and predecided, and so I can forget about it. I don't have to think about it, really. I think about little changes, like, every month I think, well, actually, I'm not making the kind of progress on this that I thought I would get. Let's tweak it. Let's work it this way. I can try introducing some new food, or leave something out, or it's really kind of a refinement. But if you have the big rocks in order, then you're good. And when it comes to diet, I found this little hack. It really helped me a lot. I don't know if this will appeal to your people or not, but when I'm off season, when I'm not competing, I just eat like a normal person, but just more. I focus to make sure I get enough whole foods, and and I don't let my weight get away from me. I want to be within a stone's throw of where I need to be on stage. But I'll gain, 12 pounds. I don't worry about it because I can have some pasta, I have to let certain things go when I'm dialing in. So this last fall, I was a little fluffier than I wanted to be. I had let go of the reins, let go of the wheel, and it just, was not paying attention. And I thought, okay, well, I don't want to do a strict diet. I'm just not into it. But then I was listening to an Andrew Huberman podcast where he talked about one of the fastest ways to lose weight healthfully is to simplify your diet. And he said, for 90 days, this is what you do. You eat nothing but meat, fish, eggs, vegetables, berries, and Greek yogurt, water, and coffee. And that's it. Now you think about it. First of all, you're going to have some listeners who are vegan. They're like, that's right out. But you can do the vegetables and the legumes and the tofu and all the things that they have to do to get enough protein without the animal meat. And some people are lactose intolerant, so they can do their substitutes that people who belong to a certain discipline of eating know how to navigate what I just said. So yeah, meat, fish, eggs, vegetables. And with vegetables, you get all the fiber and the phytonutrients, but you also get the roots and the squash, which are carbohydrates. So you get your carbohydrates all from root vegetables and squash and blueberries, or raspberries, and then a little bit in the yogurt, I suppose. I did it. I did it from Labor Day, beginning of September, until Thanksgiving. It was a really good interval because
there's not a lot going on.
Yeah, the only holiday was Halloween, and Halloween candy, that's just one night. It's not sitting around there. So that was easy. So I did it, and of course, no alcohol, no grains, so no rice, no pasta, bread, pizza, and obviously, bakery things. But I was so full. It made me so full that
Interesting.
Yeah, because when you only have those things, they're very filling, very nutritious, whole foods all the way through. And it just made it so that the volume of food was so great that I was full after every meal and I didn't get hungry until the next meal. And the thing I learned was by taking out simple carbs that I love, taking them out, when I got hungry, instead of having that crash, hangry feeling like I'm going to eat the wallpaper, I'm going to kill someone.
That's me.
I just had this little gnawing, empty feeling like, oh, it's time to eat. But I didn't feel, it didn't have any teeth because my body I wasn't having that sugar up and down.
Yeah.
That you get naturally from eating. When you eat any meal, your blood sugar goes up. So that was a really good hack. I lost 15 pounds.
Wow.
In 90 days. And, and I'm not heavy to begin with. I was just a little overweight. And, so for someone who really has a lot of weight to lose, they probably would lose more than that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, the closer you get to your ideal weight, it's harder to get that last bit off. But
Sure.
I got 15 pounds off. And then I went through Thanksgiving and Christmas. And then I weighed and I had gained 3 pounds. I lost that in 1 week by going back onto that diet.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so cool.
It was just the best thing ever.
You're giving me things to think about.
Vegetables, all vegetables. So the stuff on top of the ground and the stuff underground. Potatoes, yams.
Okay. Because I was going to say, like, that we're not, like, it doesn't
the
include a lot of
sugar.
carbs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that.
Squash and yams and sweet potatoes. That's your carbs. And carrots and onions. Anything that grows underground is higher in sugar.
Okay, I
That's
love.
the plant source of sugar to grow. So
I didn't know that. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool. I love that. Okay,
Yeah.
sweet. Well, so if someone is listening to this and
Yeah.
they feel like, okay, I'm in, like I want to incorporate all this, the best version of myself is someone that does go to the gym, that does eat well, that does all of these things, but they don't know what to do. They don't know how to step into that. What advice would you give that person?
Well, you're going to have a conversation with yourself. I suggest journaling, or if you have a close friend that you can talk to about it, it needs to be somebody who is always on your side, who
Real.
can give you constructive criticism that comes from love. They talk to you like they want you to win. And that you can so that's a good one. Or if you're more comfortable, I'm more introverted, so I would journal and write about what it is that you really want and why. I mean, I guess for me, the simplest thing is because I work with people who are getting older. I work with people who are just past midlife, entering into being a senior, and their why is way different than the why of a 30-year-old. Their why is, I want to be around to play with my grandchildren. I want to be able to get on the floor and play. I want to travel the world and be able to carry my own luggage. I don't want to turn my ankle on cobblestones. I want to be able to go upstairs and, run through the airport to catch my flight. I want to be able to be around for a long time, and I don't want to be using a cane or a walker or, and so there's basic things of, we don't even think about it when we're younger. Like I said in the beginning, I never thought about fitness because I was always healthy. So I just took it for granted. Well, we take fitness for granted when we're younger because we have so much vitality. We recover fast, but a broken hip at age 70, that's a life changer. So, we want to do things that keep our bones mineralized and keep ourselves healthy and have muscle. Muscle on your body is the organ of longevity. When you lose your muscle, you become frail and weak. And then it just, one setback, you don't have any margin for getting really sick or having a setback, car accident or stuff that you didn't cause, So the why in my world is different for that reason, because people still know they want to live life and they don't want that final decade of their life. We all get one. We all get the last decade of our life. We don't know when it is. We all get one. What do you want that to be like? Do you want it to be where you have good mental capacity? There's ways to do that, by taking care of your health. Do you want to be able to walk? Do you want to be able to go on a little hike? Do you want to be able to walk your dog, putter in your garden, play golf, whatever, get on the floor. If you can't get off the floor by yourself, you're not going to get down on the floor to play with your grandchildren. So for younger people, it's going to be something else. I had one client, I want to be healthier because I want to have children. I want to get pregnant, but I know that right now my health is terrible. I get sick all the time. I don't have any energy. I can't have a baby now. I've got to. So they spend a year just getting themselves in shape.
Even the mental health, like we were talking about.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Oh man. I still think that resistance training is my main drug of choice because I
Same.
come out of the gym and I don't know, what was I so angry about?
Same. I know. It's so bizarre. Yeah, every time you leave, you're like, woo! Like, this is great.
I know, you're like, peace be to all of you.
Yeah,
I'm out.
literally. It's so true.
I
That's
don't
so
hold any grudges now.
I know, it's so real. So to wrap us up, I like to play a game with my guests, and the game essentially, the point is to show humanity. It's to have my guests who seem to have it all together, show a little bit of that. You don't always have it all together all the time,
Oh
but
yeah.
because you are always so educated and well informed, you normally have good answers to things. So whatever you feel called to answer, the game is called Kinda Toxic, Kinda Well. I have 8 rapid fire questions if you are ready.
I love that. Kind of toxic, so it's kind of like an authenticity divulge, like maybe the soft underbelly of who I am when because I am human and I'm not perfect. I've got things figured out. Doesn't mean I'm always doing them.
Exactly. So, to start us off, is what or who are you jealous of right now?
I am jealous of Chris Williamson, the podcaster.
It was so fast. I love that.
You know why? Because I just thought that this morning. And because I've heard people ask that in a podcast before, and I've never been asked that, but I feel like, and it's because he is doing exactly what I wish I were doing, which I could figure out how to do, because I've been working for the longest time to be a paid public speaker on stages. I've done lots of public speaking in the capacity of my job, so I was getting paid for that. But once I became independent, it's finding a stage, finding a showrunner who will put me up there and pay me for it. That's the hardest thing. And so I created a YouTube channel, so I'm speaking every week, and I'm getting to speak to over 5,000 people. So I've got a good crowd, but I'm jealous of him because he gets to go on tour. He's been doing he deserves it. He's worked really hard, but he's on a world tour right now. He's in, Australia, New Zealand, and Bali, doing all these,
so cool
on stage. And he's very inspirational. He's great to listen to. And he's especially good for young men. He's a great model for young men because he gets it. So I'm jealous of Chris Williamson.
I love that. I actually don't know him. I'm going to have to check him out after we do this.
His podcast is called Modern Wisdom. Yeah.
What's the moment recently where you caught yourself ignoring your own needs or that you chose yourself instead?
Oh, ignoring my own needs. Let's see. Well, I don't know if this is kind of like an oddball answer, but
I love that.
One of the ways that I escape from reality for a little while, like if I just need to check out, instead of, a glass of wine, I play World of Warcraft.
I love that.
I play World of Warcraft. I've been playing for 20 years, so I have
I
friends
love this.
all over the world who know me as Paz. That's my little name, my little character. And I play, I'll just binge sometimes. And then I'll go for a couple weeks and not even play. But it's this, I get a craving. And I know it's because I'm anxious. And what I really should be doing is asking myself, well, Janet, what's really going on? Why are you anxious? Be my own therapist. Because whenever you mask or numb something, it's doesn't go away. It's still there. When you get up the next morning, it's still there. But I don't know, it just feels good for a little while.
100%.
That's a toxic, maybe.
Love it. What do you find yourself overthinking about these days?
I overthink. Oh, well, I overthink about that stage I want to be on. I want to be able to build the speaker side of my business, and I obsess about it. I talk to people about it. I connect with showrunners. I have several speeches written. I've done a lot of free speeches that have been amazing. Like, really, I mean, I went to Minneapolis last year before the Troubles, and I spoke at a conference for mental health providers, like counselors, and it was all on the latest peer-reviewed double-blind research on how resistance training slows down the growth of dementia, the advance of dementia. And
interesting.
Yeah, because of the growth factor that you produce in your large muscles when you use them. It's called BDNF, brain-derived neurotropic factor. And it swims all through your system after you've worked out. And it runs around and it repairs nerves. And it repairs up here.
Interesting.
And yeah, it's come out in the last 4 or 5 years. Enough studies that are longitudinally, they're long enough. They've been doing it long enough. The sample size was big enough to make it really hold water. To that they can definitively say now that resistance training is one of the most important things besides a good diet for being able to stave off neurodegenerative disease. And I just started noticing it because I have a couple of clients. I have one with Parkinson's and one with MS. I have two with MS now. And they've been training, one has been training with me for 10 years. And her symptoms just were dragging. They did not get worse. And the Parkinson's guy kept coming back from his doctor. He loves lifting. It makes him feel good. He has a little bit of the tremors, that he controls the medication. But he keeps coming back from his doctor and saying, my doctor is just scratching his head. He doesn't know why I'm not getting worse, because those doctors know how fast you should get ill. They have a bunch of patients, and he just wasn't getting sicker.
Interesting.
And so
Cool.
maybe ask the question, where is
Why?
this in?
How is this connected?
Started digging into the research and found all these. So I did a talk on this in Minneapolis, and I got 400 people in a standing ovation. Sarah,
Wow. Oh my God, that's so cool. I
I
love
just want
that.
to be able to do that. I would love to be able to do that. So
100%. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
What is a should, like an expectation that you put on yourself that you've let go of, or one that you know you still need to?
I should be more present more often. I only think about it once or twice a day. And I need to be more in the present moment, not thinking about what happened yesterday, not thinking about what I'm going to do next, and stay present. It helps to have, I have a pretty calm life. I have a great husband. And I've been really focusing on, when we're sitting together we'll just be sitting in the evening together. I'm on my laptop, he's on his phone, and we just put them down and just, how's it going? Hey, dude.
Yeah. How's it going? What's up?
Buddy, what's going on in your life? Yeah. And just like checking in and being more present with him, but also, with my clients. And I think when you're more present, it slows you down a little bit. It makes you more calm. It puts you in tempo with the real rhythm of life. And it just feels good when you do it. And then in the next minute, I'm often, it's hard. There's so many stimulations around us and distractions. So
It's so true. What's something that makes you quick to get annoyed or angry?
unkindness or rudeness
Real.
makes me crazy. It's the easiest thing in the world to switch the tone, to be kind to someone. I find I catch in the grocery store, it gets crowded, and I'm talking about Trader Joe's, where it's just like it's like this, mosh pit of people, and it's wonderful. It's a great place, but people are just so impatient, and I catch myself doing it too. And then the other day, I just stopped, and I saw this little tiny lady, this little old lady, and she was looking up at the chocolates. She was too short to reach, and she was looking around, and I said, do you want that? And she goes, because I stopped and I looked around and I could reach it for her. It just made her day.
Yeah.
It made her day to just slow down and be kind to people. And then I didn't feel annoyed at all anymore. I was very annoyed, because I couldn't get through the aisles. And then I just stopped and thought, I'm not late for anything. What are you doing?
I do that same thing. It's like the rushing mindset. Yeah.
I got all the time in the world. Look at this cute little lady, and she wants some of that chocolate up there. That's the best one, too,
I love that. What's a toxic thought you still catch yourself believing?
Well, it's related to time. Something happens to you when you get into your 60s and you start to realize the things you've been telling yourself that you're going to do. I woke up on my 65th birthday with like one of those kind of things where you wake up out of a dream and you're just like, like somebody hit you in the chest. And at 4:00 in the morning on vacation, I didn't need to be up. And I just thought, you're 65. You've been saying you're going to write a book. What are you going to say when you're 70? That you still haven't written it?
Yeah.
It was this feeling like, how much longer are you going to say tomorrow? And when you get older, it has impact because you don't have as much time. So I wrote my first chapter that day,
I
and then
love that.
and a year later it was published. So
So
there's
cool.
that. And so now I'm like, okay, I'm turning 70 in a month and I want to be a public speaker. How many more years will I be before I will be too old where nobody will want to hear what I have to say? Nobody will, stop and listen because, 80, 85, I don't know, and so I'm impatient with God. Like, I've proven myself. I have the chops. I've done the work. I've built the website. I'm growing an audience on YouTube. I've published my book. I'm writing a second book. I'm writing speeches. Hello. I
Like,
need
give me
help.
something. Yeah, give me
I
something.
I have, coach. I have an agent who's not working out. And so I'm just like, oh, so I am obsessed with that and frustrated sometimes because I'm not 40,
Yeah.
I'm going to be 70 and I want to experience that. And so sometimes I'm tempted to think, oh, will it ever really happen? Because there's a part of it that isn't me. I'm doing all the things, all the physical things, but I need a stroke of luck. It's like that put me in, coach. It's that I'm on the bench and I know the shot and I can do it. And so yeah, there's that feeling of a little bit of helplessness, which is not a good mindset to be in. So I'm working on that
But
right
it's a
now.
very real feeling.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
struggle with that. And I recognize when I'm doing it, back down and say, oh, no, no, be nice to yourself.
Yeah,
But I
for
do,
sure.
yeah, that bothers me because of my age. And I'm realizing that the clock is ticking.
Yeah. What's a wellness rule or trend you don't buy into?
That I what? That I,
Don't buy into.
oh, I don't buy into. Oh, that. Ooh. Fast won't last. You know, fast won't last.
Yeah.
It's the fast way is usually it's like going consistency is more important than intensity. So being consistent in a small way adds up much more than being intense for 5 minutes and then blowing out. So I think the fast doesn't last part is really important. That includes, crash dieting or trying to, get a six pack in 2 weeks because you starve yourself or I mean all of that stuff. But yeah, I think also just I think in my life what I'm really trying to do is to choose curiosity over comfort. So I don't just get comfortable and let things slide and understand that what am I curious about? What do I want to do? What do I want? How am I going to try that? I just signed an affiliate sponsor and I have never shot a commercial before. And I got to do that today.
That's so cool. I love
And I
that.
didn't know what I was doing.
Oh, that's so fun though. I love that you're doing that.
But it was like
Yeah, right. You're
that
like,
was uncomfortable. Like,
yeah,
what am I doing?
100%.
I
Yeah.
had to write the script and figure out what I wanted to show. It's for yoga pants, So
Oh, cool.
I had to,
Okay.
yeah. So I went to the gym when I didn't have clients and went around and filmed myself doing different things that I do in my daily life to show how stretchy they were and how they looked and it's like oh
So
my god,
cool. But it is uncomfortable. It's like, it's the imposter
yeah,
moment. Yeah.
yeah.
So cool. I
Is
love that.
and I kind of came at it at don't you notice how yoga ads look like they're 20-year-old models and they're beautiful and you start to think yoga pants aren't for me.
Yes. That's it. I love
Yeah,
that. That's so
yeah.
good.
Here's a 70-year-old trainer telling you that's not true, and I'm going to show
Yeah.
you why.
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing. I love that so much. Last one. If you could leave my wellish friends with one piece of advice on becoming more well than toxic, what advice would you give them?
Oh boy, that's deep. I'm thinking about a couple of things. Examine the story you're telling yourself about you Make sure that your story is in alignment with where you want to go, not reality right now. Because if you're telling yourself a story about reality right now, you'll stay stuck, or it'll be kind of more hinged to the past, attached to the past. But if you can start to pivot your story a little bit, just a glimmer of hope, it starts to pivot. It's like you know how an aircraft carrier takes a really long time to turn around. So I think sometimes the trajectory of our lives is like that. You have to, make slow calibrations and keep turning to the direction you want to go. And then also be aware that when you start on this journey to change your life and to change the trajectory of your health, as you make progress, oddly, you're going to get flack. You wouldn't think so. People at first are like, go, you're doing great. And then the day will come where like, wow, are you sure you should eat that much fish? I mean, mercury poisoning is a problem. Like it sounds like they care about you, but it's
Yep. But
not
it's a
helpful.
subtle judgment. No, not at all. Yeah.
I was listening to this lady in a podcast. Her name is Dr. Harden. And she said when she was getting trolled on her social media page for, health advice or whatever it was that she was doing that day, her father was a fighter pilot way back in the Gulf War. And he told her, he said, you always get the most fire when you're directly over the target.
I love that one. That's a good
I
one.
know. I just took that in. I thought, I got to remember that. Because we all have times when we feel like people are not speaking for your best interest. They're projecting onto you their insecurities, clearly.
Yeah.
And so have some compassion for, wow, that's where they are. That's what they're feeling. But they're bouncing it onto me as the thing that they see you making progress. They see you taking strides. They say you making hard decisions. And they're like, I'm not ready to do that yet.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw a little shade, but I'll make it sound compassionate, 'cause
Yes.
they're not mean people, but I'll make it sound compassionate, but it's a little toxic. So just be aware and have your boundaries up. Make sure that you have your little vault, what Brene Brown calls your vault, which is your maybe 2 close confidants that are your ride or die, that will always tell you the truth and that always are on your side, so that if they do need to tell you some hard truth, you can take it.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you so much for this. Where can people find you?
Okay, well, the best place is my YouTube channel because that's where I'm every day. So that would be Aging Strong for Life. You can just write that in the YouTube search window, Aging Strong for Life. And it's all about healthy longevity, healthy practices. I do workouts, I do food, everything on there. So, there's a lot of detail there. And it's a very active, vibrant community that I've created there. The other place is probably LinkedIn. Do you have show notes where I can?
Yes.
I can give you
I will
Okay.
put everything down below. If you send it to me,
Yeah,
absolutely.
LinkedIn is a good place. That's kind of a business. I call it a business dating site.
It's real.
It's like dating for businesses. And then I have my book. It's 8 Elements of Aging
Yay.
Well, my journey so far.
Amazing.
And that's on Amazon. So
Okay.
you can. So if
I'll
you
link
just
that
write
too.
Janet McConnell, just Janet McConnell in the Amazon window.
It'll
But I
come
can
up.
send you all those links too.
Yeah, please do. Absolutely. Yeah, because I'll include everything. I might actually have some of yours already. So I'll link everything down below so it's easy access.
Okay.
Thank you so much for this conversation. This was incredible. You are very inspirational, and I really enjoyed talking to you, Janet.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. I loved your questions. You really made me think.
Yeah, good. I'm glad.